Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the St. Bernard Chamber of Commerce Pulse of the Parish podcast. Today we have with us a special guest, Mr. Michael Ricks. He's the District Director of the Small Business Administration in Louisiana. Why don't you explain to our viewers what exactly the PPP program is?
Well, the PPP loan program was created originally back last year as part of the CARES Act. It's a program that allows a business owner who has suffered a disruption of business operations due to COVID to first and foremost assist with payroll. So the purpose of the program, of course, is to make funds available as a forgivable loan to small businesses who would like to in other words, to continue to keep payroll expenses. The program was expanded later on through amendments and additions to include other expenses as well. But bottom line, it was to provide relief for the unemployment system, actually, allow the small business owner to continue to pay staff, even though they weren't generating revenue. And it's monumentally successful. Here in Louisiana, for example, we actually did more PPP loans, about 15% more loans under this program than any other mid-sized district office in the country. So very successful here. Our lending partners in the state were very active in participating in the program. And for that reason, we're very grateful to them as they navigated this moving target, if you will, of a program that was created and launched 6 hours after we got the policy on it. So, and it took a lot of trust from them, their trust with us that we would follow through, and it's been successful. And of course, I think we're going to talk a little bit today about the second round of PPP funding. So, a business owner who may have gotten a PPP loan before is now eligible to get 8 more weeks of coverage, so you can take a second PPP loan. And if it's your first one, if you didn't take one last year, you can still apply under this program. It'll just be your first one. So we're very, very happy about that so far. Knock on wood. We've had some hiccups, and we'll talk about those. But mostly it's been very successful.
So you mentioned that businesses that did not get a first round PPP loan can now apply. Can you just explain a little bit about that?
The rules are the same. This has been a moving target. The rules on this program changed dramatically over a 6-month period from when it launched back in March until really the final major revision to it was right after the Flexibility Act was passed. And the rules are pretty much the same in terms of what's eligible and what's not. So even though, and there are some additional rules on top of this loan program, this latest iteration, that were not in place under the first one. So if you're applying for a loan for the first time, you're actually going to use the current rules, which is going to be with this program. So even though it's your first time borrowing under this program, you are going to use the same rules that apply to this current iteration. So, as this program changes, the rules change, and now we have a fully mature, I hope, program that when you take out this first loan, it's going to be just like you've done a first loan. In fact, there's actually 2 different applications that you use. There's one for a first-time PPP borrower, and there's one for a second. The second one is a little easier because, of course, all the information that you've provided is assumed to be the same and going forward. So really all you're going to do is use the same forms that we used in the last iteration using it this time. So if you didn't get a loan the first time, no fear. You're still eligible under this program for this current iteration, which will be your first one. It might be the second for other people, but it'll be your first one.
Right. And if you opened your business in say you opened your business in the second half of 2019. And so you wouldn't have a lot of revenue for 2019. And then your revenue slowly grew in 2020 so that you had more revenue. Would you be eligible for the PPP program?
There is a provision, that's one of the changes under this latest iteration, is that you have to show a decline in revenue from the previous fiscal year. Now, the current regulations and policy that are in place for that right now is that you as a borrower can take any single quarter from the previous fiscal year to this one, and you do have to show a decline in revenue from one to the other. This is going to be one of the things. I think one of the questions that you might have later on is are there going to be any more changes to the program? And I think absolutely there will be changes. One of the things that need to be clarified is this revenue piece. It's clear that you have to show a decline in revenue, and it's got to be a certain percentage. But yeah, I suspect that that's going to change. We may see a modification going forward where, in recognition of the fact that you may have had if you're using fiscal year, if you're using calendar year 2019. Let me clarify. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off track here, but you can compare any single quarter in 2019 to where you are now. So as long as it's the same 3-month period, January, February, March, you're using that same period going forward and showing a decline in revenue, then yes. We're not expecting you as a borrower to take a look at what's happening right now in this very moment and compare it to the same period of time in the previous year. That was the first program, so it's changed. Yeah, we have added a revenue piece, but you can either take the totality of 2019 and the totality of 2020, or you can just take one quarter going forward. So
okay, so you could do either or.
Right.
So you do think that there will be amendments to this round of the PPP. When do you think those will be released?
Well, if history is an indication, it'll be typically what happened, and I'm just going to be painfully honest here. As this program was being implemented by our lenders, they were bringing up questions to Treasury. It's still Treasury's program. This is a program that's run by Treasury, and we're the middleman between Treasury and the lenders. We provide the method for which these loans can be made. And as the lending community brought up concerns to Treasury modified the program, and then they released these bit by bit as they came out. There's still a lot of ambiguity a little bit with this program, especially when it comes to revenue. How do we define that? The other thing that I'll expect to see is, there is a provision in this current round where if you did not use all of your first round money, you're not going to be eligible for a second loan. I don't want to second guess anything. I don't know what's going to happen, but I suspect there could be some changes where if you've got a very good reason why you didn't use all the money in the first round going forward, then you will be allowed to apply for a PPP loan for the second time. There's also some provisional changes. I think there's one of the things that I think is going to happen is that this new program, there's some new eligibility, if you will. 503C6 is now eligible under this program. In the previous version, it wasn't. And there's some specifics in the law and the currently published policy that's really not clear on what expenses are related to lobbying activity, which you could not include. I suspect there'll be clarifications on that, and other things as well. But yeah, I think most of the changes you're going to see are going to be just like last time, in the sense that we didn't modify any. We didn't take stuff off the table. If anything, we put more stuff on. So we're not going to change the rules where hey, I was eligible this week, now I'm not.
Right.
I suspect what will happen is there'll be changes to clarify back end actions with the lenders, between the lenders and the SBA, things that really aren't going to affect the average borrower, but clarifications on guidance that the lenders are going to need to know, or increases, broaden, the spectrum, if you will. Because when this thing first launched, the PPP loan program, churches weren't eligible. If you were if you sat on the board of directors of a lending institution and you owned a small business, that business wasn't going to be eligible for a PPP loan from your lending institution. That changed. So all the changes that were made just expanded eligibility rather than retracted it.
Right, because the point is to get more people eligible, not to get less.
That's correct.
Well, awesome. Well, Mike, you've been really extremely helpful. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us today. And if anyone has any suggestions on what should be changed in the future amendments, I'm just going to go ahead and give them your personal phone number. Is that okay?
Give my address too, so they can come to my house. No, actually, my email address is the best way to reach me. It's michael.ricks@sba.gov. That's michael.ricks@sba.gov. Go to our website, sba.com. Look for local resources, and you'll find Louisiana. You can call us up. My entire staff directory is posted online. So if you want to reach me, that's my contact information. If you want to reach Joe, who's like I don't think anybody knows our certified programs on contracting better than Joe. All our BOS is Val Brumfield, who's our lead lender relations specialist. She works directly with the banks, and a lot of times they will call her and ask her questions like, when we just had this, do we need to demonstrate that the loss in revenue is COVID related?
Right.
And what do I need to do? And then Val just kind of clarifies that. No, I don't know where you got this, or yes, you do. But yeah, that's how to reach us. That's the best way.
Yes, everybody at the New Orleans District SBA office is super helpful, and they're more than willing to drop everything that they're doing to answer the phone and help us out as business owners. So we appreciate that. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Oh, no, it's no problem.
Thank you for joining this first episode of the second season of the Pulse of the Parish podcast. The audio recording is available on all major podcasting platforms. Links are available below. For more of our video recordings, the most recent upload is available here, or a video YouTube thinks you'll like is available here. We'll see you next time.